Hello and welcome to Regionally Speaking and our series on the Social Justice Initiative at Case Western Reserve University and the City of East Cleveland. We are on location in the studios of Legacy Communications in East Cleveland. The theme of today's program is, What Makes a City a City? Here to talk about this are Collette Clinkscale, Chief of Staff in the East Cleveland Mayor's Office, and Tom Wheeler, who until recently has held the position in City Hall as Director of Building and Housing. To open today's discussion on the subject of what makes a city, I would like to ask each one of our guests to give us a personal history about your experience with the City of East Cleveland. And Collette Clinkscale, I will begin with you. How did East Cleveland become a part of your life?
Well, my family moved in East Cleveland in 1967, approximately 1967. So I started elementary school at Prospect in first grade, and I continued in the East Cleveland school system until I graduated from Shaw High School. So I had an amazing childhood with great neighbors. My neighbors were a school teacher couple, so we just had great neighbors. We had great friends. We had great teachers. So I just had an amazing childhood growing up here in East Cleveland. I worked summer jobs in Forest Hill Park. I worked at Heron Road Hospital 1 year. So it's just an amazing experience growing up here in East Cleveland.
All right. And Tom Wheeler? The same question for you. Will you trace the history of your relationship with the City of East Cleveland?
First, it was really enjoyable growing up in East Cleveland. My family moved here back in 1960. I came along in 64 and been here my entire life. I had 7 other brothers. They came before me. They all graduated from Shaw High School. I was the last one to graduate in 1982. Great neighbors, corner stores, good relationships with the police department back then. It was really great growing up in East Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I want to go back a little bit to inquire about, I'm particularly interested in the schools. What were the schools like? You had a good experience.
Yes, I had a great experience with the school system. I just remember it being a very nurturing environment, teachers that took a lot of time with us, teachers that wanted you to excel in what you did, spending extra time with you. I remember our school teachers being involved in like weekend carnivals and different recreation that happened throughout the city. You know, just a lot of concern with our teachers. They were great role models where you could go talk to them. There wasn't a lot of security in the school system when I attended schools here. So it was just a very relaxed environment, just a very good environment to be around, where the emphasis was on learning and excelling in success. You know, I did very well in school, and it was because of the teachers. They really contributed to my growth in the school system.
Mm-hmm. And did it prepare you for what you did afterwards? I mean, did you go on for advanced education? Did you stay and continue to work then in the city? I mean, what happened after high school?
I think it absolutely prepared me because I learned a lot of discipline, how to discipline myself, how to manage my time. I did go on and I graduated from Cleveland State University. I actually started working for the city as a student when I first started working for the city during a summer program while I was a college student. So I think it absolutely prepared me as far as getting to work on time, doing a great job, following up, being courteous, all those things I learned, you know, from school.
Uh-huh. And you went on to Cleveland State, as you said, and then the work experience followed that, what you've just described, leading up to the position somehow that you now hold.
Yes.
I'm saying somehow, but I want you to give that, provide that part.
Well, it was a journey. As I said, I started working as a student in the purchasing department, and then when they had the 1986 first mayoral election, I was actually appointed to the position of Director of Water. And I think it was because of my skill set that, I was even paid attention to, during that period of time, that I was a good leader, a good manager. I followed through on things, and it really resulted in my advancement with the city. So I ended up being the director of water for a number of years. I left the city of East Cleveland and worked in the city of Cleveland for a number of years. And I guess I left, and it was a period of about 7 years that I was absent from the city. But the amazing thing is that when I came back to work for the city, it was like I had never left. I saw people that still remembered me. People would blow their horns and, hey, Miss Clinkscale, and what have you. It was like I never left. It was like coming home. So I came back as the director of water. I handled the transition. A private company came in and ran the water department for a number of years. And I came in to handle their transition back to the city of East Cleveland. So when the Norton administration came in, I was appointed chief of staff. So that's where I am now.
All right. All right, now, Tom Wheeler.
Well,
your story.
Graduated from Shaw in '82. Went into law enforcement, became a police officer for Cleveland, and was there for about 12 years. And through that, I got involved in construction, doing housing and so forth, and learned a little bit about that. And wanted to get back involved in East Cleveland to help with the housing department. So I acquired some land in East Cleveland, renovated a few houses in East Cleveland. So I always wanted to be involved. My dad used to be involved in East Cleveland, he used to be the city manager. So I grew up in East Cleveland, seeing the action, and wanted to get in the trenches and get involved with the residents and the community and see what I could do to help, and ended up back in East Cleveland and ended up working for the chief of staff here at Clinkscale and the current mayor in Norton, which was a great time to be there. They really assisted and helped so we could get things going in the right direction, and I've just been involved in any kind of way I can. It's just great to be a part of East Cleveland.
So you two have worked together?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, and I knew his dad. His dad was actually president of council and city manager when I was a student, his dad. So I'm very familiar with him and his family, and we know each other.
Oh.
Gladys, that's the great thing about growing up in East Cleveland. It's like you never lose the commitment and the love of the city. And I think that that's what keeps people like me and Tom involved to the level that we are, because we care about the city and the direction the city is going in. And
if you mind, I'd like to add, out of all the elementary schools, everybody ended up at Kirk. So no matter what part of the city you lived in, you ended up at Kirk Junior High, and everybody got to meet there, and then everybody went on to Shaw. And we had the Corp Lounge, which was a place where we could socialize during school, so you got to meet and know other people from the other side of the city, and it became just one. You all became one.
What was the name of it? The lounge?
Corp Lounge.
Who was that named for?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
Corp?
I know Miss Purnell ran it, though.
Yeah, it was just a meeting place. Yeah. It was an activity center when we were in school. And so that was the great thing, too, about growing up in a small community like this, where everyone ended up at middle school together and everyone ended up at high school, because you could literally walk everywhere that you went. We had theaters, so we would meet at theaters. We would meet at the bowling alley, at the skating rink. So no matter where you lived in the city, everything was kind of in walking distance. So all your friends were in walking distance. So you knew people. You knew it's almost literally like you knew everybody in the city.
I went to Cleveland Heights High School. How about that rivalry between Shaw and Cleveland Heights?
Well, I can't say too much about that because I married someone from Cleveland Heights High School.
And I did the same.
Well, then, should we pursue that perhaps another time? But that's wonderful. Well, let's take a break, and we'll return, because now the major question that you're going to be dealing with, what makes a city a city? Now we have the backstory, as we call it, and then we're going to take it from there. Okay?
Okay.
Back in a minute. We have returned to our conversation with Collette Clinkscale and Tom Wheeler, and the subject is what makes a city a city. And we are, once again, of course, here in the studios of Legacy Communications. Now, you both have had professional experience in positions you have held in the city of East Cleveland. From your vantage point, what does a city, and more specifically East Cleveland, need to survive and to thrive? Collette.
Well, I think that one of